Awesome, thank you. And then live transcription should be on now. Thank you. So now that we have finished with our housekeeping items, I would like to take this time to briefly introduce you to the Healthy Aging Alberta initiative and the Core Alberta platform for those who might not be familiar. On to the next slide, please, Carol. Thank you. So Healthy Aging Alberta is a by community for community provincial initiative that brings together a rich network of community-based organizations from across the province that are united by the vision of making Alberta one of the best places in the world to grow older. Healthy Aging Alberta focuses on the development of a coordinated community-based senior serving sector that is respected and integrated within the broader senior system of care and can empower and inspire every senior to age how they choose, ultimately improving health and social outcomes for older adults. Next slide, please. Thank you. There are thousands of incredible organizations in our sector, each offering critical services that support healthy and empowered aging, but we can be stronger together and have a louder voice when united. Together, we can create the bedrock for healthy aging in our province by building a network that supports and connects the sector's organizations. Healthy Aging Alberta seeks to develop a coordinated sector by bringing together community-based organizations around a common framework for action with a focus on identifying and addressing priority areas related to healthy aging in community. So the initiative seeks to create a provincial network of organizations that can advocate for healthy aging on a provincial level, share knowledge, and create functional relationships with one another and our allies in health and other sectors. So like a tapestry, we become stronger when we weave our knowledge, expertise, and passion together. United, we can create more communities where older Albertans are supported as they grow older in their homes, engaged in their communities. So it's a future we all want and benefit from. And one of the tools at our disposal to support the weaving of this network is Core Alberta. Next slide, please, Carol. Thank you. So Core Alberta is a sector development tool that has been developed to support the collective vision and strategic objectives of Healthy Aging Alberta. The Core Alberta platform is a free member-based digital knowledge and learning hub designed to support provincial sector coordination and strengthening by connecting community-based senior serving organizations to each other and their allied partners. Core Alberta provides a digital space to share knowledge and capacity building opportunities, allowing members to find and collaborate with one another with aligned mandates. So our groups, like our Core Age Friendly group today, hosting this event is an example of creating learning opportunities that brings organizations from all over the province. We have over 1,000 members and are growing each and every day with more and more individuals like yourselves contributing to this knowledge hub. And so we want to thank you for being with us today. With that being said, I would like to go over the agenda quickly. So after the agenda review, we will have Rob introduce himself, the session, and the panelists. We will then have a panel discussion and a Q&A following that. Of course, we'll have a short closing to thank you for your time. And please note, we are opening up space for an optional chat from 12 to 12:30 if you wish to stay. So I would like to invite Rob now to take it away. Oh, sorry, Rob, you're on mute.
I got it. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Cindy. And I appreciate you introducing us this way. I'm very pleased on behalf of the Alberta Age Friendly Community of Practice to moderate this panel discussion on frailty as part of the ongoing series that's been hosted on CORE. Today's session is being hosted by the Alberta Age Friendly Community of Practice. Age-friendly communities help seniors remain engaged in their communities by developing supportive, built, and social environments that facilitate exercise, social connection, and respect for seniors. In this session, the Alberta Age-Friendly Community of Practice will examine social isolation as a risk factor for frailty. Panelists will provide examples from communities across Alberta that help prevent or address frailty by addressing social isolation under two of the age-friendly domains: social participation and respect and social inclusion. This session will include time for discussion and provide attendees with ideas and information on addressing social isolation in their community, including a digital resource on age-friendly programs and initiatives that address and prevent frailty. According to the Canadian Frailty Network, getting older doesn't necessarily mean someone is frail, but it does increase the odds of developing multiple medical conditions in frailty. Things like inactivity, poor nutrition, and social isolation or loneliness, and multiple medications contribute to frailty. In age-friendly planning, the goal is to create an environment in which older adults are able to age healthily in place at home or within their municipality and participate fully in their community, eliciting a sense of belonging and fostering social connectedness. The goals of healthy aging and social connectedness are brought about via municipal policies, programs, and services through the 8 age-friendly domains. All of the domains impact social connectedness in different ways, with the net effect of keeping older adults healthy and connected to the community as a whole and socially. Today, we're going to focus on 2 of those domains. Social participation. Participating in leisure, social, cultural, and spiritual activities in the community fosters seniors' continued integration with society and helps seniors stay engaged and informed. Seniors' participation in social activities helps to prevent social isolation. Respect and social inclusion. An inclusive society encourages older people to participate more in their city's social, civic, and economic life. This in turn promotes active aging. Social engagement can contribute to seniors' esteem. Age-friendly initiatives to involve all seniors in activities where they have experience can help keep them engaged with the community and help them feel valued in their community. Today's panelists bring varying experience and expertise in addressing the social isolation of seniors. We have people who can speak from a program perspective, both in urban and rural settings, as well as an overarching campaign. Ellen Helgeson is a recreation therapist with Alberta Health Services, is here to share about Let's Connect Innisfail. Let's Connect Innisfail is for adults who are looking for a way to stay in touch and to participate in free online programs. The program gives people the opportunity to connect with new and interesting people through interactive phone or online social health and program opportunities. For example, exercises such as Healthy Moves and Movers and Groovers, Tech Talk, Memory Cafe for the health of it, and Music to My Ears. Sharon Matthewman is a seniors community development facilitator with the Chestermere Older Adults Teleconference. Chestermere Older Adults Teleconference is a way to stay in touch while keeping a safe distance. This platform can help keep people connected who may be otherwise lonely or isolated, and gives the participants the opportunity to meet new people. The teleconference introduces guest speakers on topics of interest that are requested by the participants. Share concerns, tell stories, or laugh. The program is free to the participants. There are telephone or video connection options. Kathy Ost is from Cold Lake Age Friendly, and she'll talk about the Cold Lake Men's Shed. Cold Lake Men's Shed is a place for men to learn skills, meet people, drink coffee, share stories, and hit things with hammers. New members are welcome. Their aim is to create a healthy environment for men in the community to build new relationships in a safe place while working on projects. In October 2021, Global TV Edmonton featured how a men's shed in Northern Alberta is helping guys tackle isolation and loneliness. Sharon Nixon is co-chair of the Calgary Older Advisory Table, and she'll speak about the Age-Friendly Calgary Social Isolation Campaign. The Social Isolation Awareness Campaign, Staying Connected Never Gets Old, and Older Adults and Social Isolation, promotes awareness and support of older adults who may be socially isolated. The campaign helps to educate Calgarians about the impacts of social isolation on older adults and facilitates connections by providing resources and ideas to those who want to get involved. It also promotes how we can all play a role in making meaningful social connections, whether it's you, a neighbor, a friend, or a family member who's at risk of social isolation. The Staying Connected Never Gets Old campaign toolkit contains everything campaign partners need to participate. We have 4 questions that we're going to be exploring with our panelists. Through this exploration, we'll hear different perspectives of frailty and socialization, what prompted these programs or initiatives, and what they hope to achieve, the impacts of COVID, and some positives or benefits that they have seen while working to address the frailty or isolation of seniors in their communities. So why don't we just jump in and get started? My first question is, how does social isolation relate to frailty in your context? Why don't we start with Ellen?
Morning, everyone. I guess I see frailty as that condition of reduced function and health. And for me, that means that physical, cognitive, social frailty. We created Let's Connect to support people to combat that social isolation and to maintain or even improve their health through connecting with others, keeping active, engaging, and having opportunities to learn and share with others. People tend to be social creatures, and we kind of seek out others to connect with and to participate with. So as a part, that's part of our whole well-being. And really our well-being does include your physical, cognitive, spiritual, emotional, and social health. And Let's Connect really does look at all of those areas to try and provide that programming and support for people to be able to continue to connect.
Sorry, I'm muted. Thanks, Ellen, very much. So again, the question is, how does social isolation relate to frailty in your context? Let's go to Sharon from Chestermere.
Good morning, everybody. And I just lost all my slides. Okay. Sorry, Rob. I just lost everything that I was hoping to say. Would you mind moving on to the next participant, please?
Well, we'll hunt. You hunt for him, and we'll.
I will. Yeah, it just literally disappeared. Thank you.
No problem. Let's go to Kathy from Cold Lake.
Get unmuted here. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having us. With Ellen, I do agree that physical and cognitive is most of what I see as the outreach worker in Cold Lake. So I really narrowed my scope down to that. Frailty is often accompanied by weight loss, poor nutrition, and becoming less active. As a person's health declines, they also stop participating in some of the social activities that they may have really enjoyed and had a passion for before, such as church, attending seniors center events, or meeting with family if they should happen to have family close. In my position, most cases there is little or no family involved, which leads to an even further deepening of that social isolation. So what we intend to do is to find those folks who are older adults who are in a position of really losing some physical or cognitive abilities, and how we can help them become involved in things like the men's shed and some of our other services as well. Yeah, so that's
great. Thank you very much, Kathy. Sharon, did you find your slides?
I did.
All right. Why don't you tell us what's going on in Chestermere, and how does socialization isolation relate to frailty in your context?
Okay, so good morning, everyone. So frailty to me describes a range of conditions which are obviously related to the aging process and potentially reduces our quality of life, increases our vulnerability, our function loss and our strength, our memory loss, our physical decline, inactivity, and poor nutrition. With that being said, we know poor health is linked to both frailty and social isolation, and it definitely increases the risk of mortality, especially for those who are lonely or social isolated. So lack of connection and engagement impacts all aspects of our well-being, including, as I've said, social, emotional, physical, cognitive, and spiritual.
Great, thank you. So I keep missing my mute button. So Sharon from Calgary, how does social isolation relate to frailty in your context?
Hi, well, thanks again. Well, loneliness and social isolation are linked to serious health conditions. And with a 50% increase in the risk of dementia, 29% increase in the risk of heart disease, and a 32% increase in a risk of strokes. The health consequences can be dire. Higher rates of depression and suicide are also linked to social isolation. If you add a disability to those challenges, then the risks increase even more. So the Calgary Social Isolation Awareness Campaign was started and implemented to try and decrease some of these risk factors.
Great, thanks, Sharon. So if we go to the next question, Sharon, why don't you just continue by talking about what was the impetus for and the intended outcomes of your program?
Okay, so the social isolation awareness campaign was intended to reach not only isolated older adults, but also their families, their neighbors, and people that they interacted with, to bring awareness to the risks of social isolation, and also to bring some engagement activities and ideas for people to become engaged with these older adults, so that we are trying to prevent social isolation. So basically, prevention is the driving force behind this campaign. The more neighborhoods are connected, the more people that are connected and engaged, the healthier everybody is.
Great, thank you. Kathy, what was the impetus for and the intended outcomes of your program?
Sorry, Kathy, I see that you're on mute right now.
You're on mute, Kathy.
Sorry there. Yes, we had a male member of our board come to us and express that, and I'm sure many of us can think of all activities that women get involved in our different communities, whether it be quilting clubs or paint nights or events and activities along those lines. But there was very little for men, if anything, really, in our communities. So we looked into the feasibility of starting a men's shed, so that we could get some hammers in men's hands and get men starting to congregate. Women have the ability again to gather and chat, and men are very tight to the chest. They tend not to be as communicative as women, and they don't share as many problems that they may have. But you get a group of men together, and you, like I say, put a hammer in the hand, a screwdriver, get working on a common project, and they start to communicate and open up. So it's an amazing program to reduce isolation and loneliness in senior men. Our first outcome that we were really looking for was just strictly to find men who were interested, and then find a location, and then find funding to support it. So we did all three of those things, and we were successful. Our second outcome right now that we are working on is building the membership. We can talk a little bit later about how COVID has impacted, but we do want to get that membership up, and we're looking at doing a grand opening, and we've got some other exciting things, creating community awareness and getting people in the community aware that this program is here for men.
Great, thank you. Sharon from Chestermere, what was the impetus for the intended outcomes of your program?
So obviously social participation and inclusion were the key considerations in this platform. And we discussed this with our older adults, our seniors coalitions and our other partners. And it was identified that we needed more opportunities for older adults to connect and engage besides in-person programming, which came at a good time really, with COVID being running alongside us. And so our intended outcome was to provide a program at no cost via a telephone or a video call for the participants. It was for individuals who face multiple barriers or health concerns, and also individuals who didn't want to be part of a senior centre. The program allowed individuals to stay connected with others while participating from their own home. It also provided opportunities to meet new people from across Alberta and from across rural communities, and reinforce those connections that develop a sense of belonging. The great thing about this program, it promoted collaborative partnerships amongst other agencies and organisations in and around Chestermere. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Ellen, what was the impetus for and the intended outcomes of your program?
Well, with the pandemic actually came the opportunity for our community partners in action to really think outside the box. And, we saw that there was going to be some concern for people being socially isolated, and we wanted to be able to create something to maintain their connection with others, as well as for them to stay active. And Let's Connect actually was born in May of 2020. And really, we really did want to build upon that opportunity to ease that potential social isolation. And we also wanted to look a lot at building those partnerships within the community, whether that was with businesses, organizations, or whomever. So when we looked for locations within the community that already ran programming and who were similar to us because of the pandemic, unable to meet face-to-face, we looked at those partnerships. So we included partners such as the Innisfil Public Library, our Seniors Drop-In Society, and the Henday Association for Lifelong Learning. They were all keen to join together to create this opportunity for people within the community and surrounding areas. And since starting this program, we really have had an opportunity to expand that partnership to include other businesses and organizations that were really interested in sharing their expertise or programming with people for this population. So we do have a variety of online and over the telephone interactive type of social and health programs. And we also have opened this up. It's not just for individuals living in Red Deer or Central Alberta, but we really have opened it up to be more provincial. And we've also have had people nationally and internationally that have joined, which has been an uptake, I guess, we didn't really anticipate, but it's been fantastic. So really our goals, were to support people and make this transition a little bit easier when we weren't able to meet face to face. So again, looking at the outcomes is that partnership building, supporting people to continue to connect and to remain active. Again, that social participation, education, and really it is just a safe place to be yourself and to be with others. Thank you.
Great, Ellen. You answered half of our next question as well, and I think we'll explore the last half of the question with you. So the question was, of course, what is the impact of COVID on your program? And I think you've talked about that. You were born during COVID, but moving forward, you've also talked about some ways that you're going to maintain and sustain the program. But how are you going to keep responding to the impact of COVID and any other barriers that come in your way?
Well, we have actually made Let's Connect to be sustainable. We really looked at being able to keep the access for anyone, of course, and we do tend to keep our costs really low with minimal printing costs for our calendars. So if people need to find them, they can find them, the link on the Wolf Creek Primary Care Network website. And then in other ways, we pay for the Zoom account, for example, through our donations or grants through the Community Partners in Action. The other support we really provide is more for our local participants within the town of Innisfil and county. We have a loan program as well for laptops or tablets so that people, again, are aware of the potential barriers to participation. We're offering up a solution for them. They can try it out before they have to feel like they have to maybe purchase one for themselves. We do see this continuing after the pandemic restrictions have lessened. And we know that we're always going to have individuals in our communities that are unable or even uninterested in participating in programs face to face. So Let's Connect really does give them an opportunity to be able to participate from home if that's where they choose to become active in. And let's be honest, we also all live in Alberta, so we know the roads and the weather can be an added barrier for people being able to come face to face to participate or to connect. So, again, this is another opportunity for people that they don't have to miss their favorite programs or connections with people, depending on weather. They can still be able to participate in that way. And we actually were, to make this successful for moving forward, we were really successful in getting a $25,000 Horizon grant. And the majority of those funds, what we did with them was to purchase 65-inch smart TVs and iPads And we put them in seniors' apartments, condos, some local churches, our seniors drop-in society location, the library and library learning center, to enable people to continue to connect through Let's Connect or other online programs from their own home or apartment building. So we do see this as a future opportunity for people, even once restrictions get less. It just really opens it up, because again, we also deal with individuals where they live maybe in rural locations and they may not drive anymore, but they still want to be active and connect with people. So
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ellen. Sharon from Calgary, what are the impacts of COVID been on your program, and how do you how are you going to respond to those impacts moving forward?
Well, the impact has led to, in some cases, even greater isolations for older adults, for vulnerable populations, because they stayed inside due to health concerns. Sorry, I should put that up there. Fear for their safety left them less likely to reach out for support. And it was even more difficult to find those individuals to help, because they were at home, and some of them were not comfortable with technology. They weren't able to afford the computer or a cell phone or a tablet. They couldn't afford Wi-Fi. And then the libraries closed, which is one of the places they used to be able to access free computers. So there was a lot more isolation, especially at the beginning. Then Friendly Calgary started working with partners, of course, like Let's Connect and a few others that had lending programs for tablets for people so that they could stay more connected. The website is very easy to use, the City of Calgary Age Friendly website. There is a social awareness isolation website with lots of activities and ideas and engagement opportunities. So the City of Calgary has really been proactive with working with lots of city partners, trying to connect and get people to know what's available for them and how to connect with those people.
Great, thanks a lot, Sharon. Kathy, what's the big impacts of COVID on your program? And I know it's been huge. And how are you going to respond to that in an ongoing way? You're muted again, Kathy.
Sorry. The Men's Shed is a little bit different in the fact that it's more of a hands-on program than it is an online program. So the men actually coming together is the vital component to the success of the program. COVID certainly had its challenges with us. We had some stops and starts. We were fortunate that at the very beginning, COVID had not come upon us yet. So we had the opportunity to have a few community meetings that gave us a core group of men who were interested in being involved with the Men's Shed. So throughout COVID, yes, we did have some stops and starts, but there was always a few men that were able to come in. We have an 1,800 square foot facility, so it was very easy to social distance, and we maintained all of the provincial requirements for dealing with COVID and the restrictions. There was never really more than 4 people at a time in the Men's Shed when COVID was in its highest. But because we were able to have that core group of men, there were still some things happening. There were still some connections being made. There was still social isolation being broken. The men came together and they made over the Christmas season 80 compassion birds. So they were given out to both the lodge and long-term care, and the men took great pride in being able to get together and accomplish that. Moving forward, I think with the restrictions being lifted is going to make things a lot easier as that process unveils itself. And once we start doing some of our community awareness campaigns and getting out into the community, then we hope that we're going to be able to build the membership back up. We've got about 30 participants right now, but they don't come in all at the same time, obviously, because it's a come as you want. We are looking forward to increasing that number significantly, and including not only the older gentlemen, but also the younger gentlemen to mentor some of the younger guys, and opportunity to maybe do some things with some of the schools and get some intergenerational program going. So with COVID lifting, it's providing a lot more opportunity for us to get out there and show what we do.
Great, thank you. Sharon from Calgary, what are the impacts of COVID on your program, and how are you going to respond in an ongoing way?
You mean?
I think you mean Sharon from Chestermere.
Yeah. It's confusing, Rob.
Sorry.
Thanks, Sharon.
No worries.
No
worries.
See, even I got confused by two Sharons having their names spelled the same way.
Yeah. Okay. So the older adults teleconference was going to be run in the latter part of 2020, but because of the onset of COVID, we actually brought the timing forward. At the time, we were doing some work with the Chestermere Emergency Coordination Centre, and we needed to secure some funds as an ESS initiative. Although we weren't activated, they provided the funds for us to do that. So we launched this in May of 2020. We're finding that as life is returning back to somewhat reality, we know we're going to be having several impacts, and the impacts are going to consist of a reduction in attendance, of course, because most people are zoomed out. They've spent a lot of time on virtual chat shows, webinars, you name it. They've probably had enough of that. And, take into consideration seasonal change as well. As the warm weather comes, people want to get outside more. So they're not going to be wanting to be on a teleconference per se. But in saying that, it is here to stay, and it is reviewed regularly, and to make sure it is impactful and addressing the needs of the older adults population.
Well, great, Sharon. So why don't you stay on right now? And the next question is about having implemented this program during COVID, and you're intending on keeping it going. So what are the positives or the benefits you've seen around addressing the frailty or isolation of seniors in your community?
So some of the word we've been having from the community is that they're seeing an improved mental health from older adults who are living in isolation. Talking to individuals who attended the webinar and people who are calling in, they're wanting to connect and engage more with others and share their own personal stories. They've learned more about the resources they can access in their own community and beyond. We're also having older adults from other communities attending the teleconference, so as far as Edmonton and Great Britain, actually. So we've had a few folks who are wanting to, come on this platform. And social issues have been highlighted through these conferences as well. And this is great because we can share some of this information with other agencies and organisations, and we can continue to work in collaboration to address the gaps and identified needs. We are definitely thinking outside the box as a community and as a city of Chestermere. And we're currently in discussion with community partner to see how we can expand the programme to reach a wider audience through use of radio and to make it even more accessible for local residents. We are looking to apply for grant funding as well to bring in provincial speakers, and to further address isolation. Grant applications have been submitted for new initiatives. We listen to the voices of our older adults and ensure that we continue to change and adapt the programs in response to need.
Great, thank you, Sharon. Sharon Nixon, same question. So what are the positives or benefits you've seen around addressing the frailty or isolation of seniors in your community?
Okay, so the positive outcomes of addressing loneliness and social isolation are improved mental and physical health in general, keeping older adults engaged in community activities and encouraging neighbors to connect with seniors in their communities offers many opportunities for intergenerational learning and cooperation. The more communities become involved, the more benefits to not only the seniors, but the neighborhood as a whole. We can all learn from one another, and knowledge is a gift that's meant to be shared. So one of the major proponents of the social isolation campaign is Get Connected with the Red Yarn campaign. And that is really about intergenerational connections of having kids do art projects and share with their senior neighbors. It's about know that there's a senior in your neighborhood that perhaps lives alone, and you can do like well checks. Hi, how are you? Make sure everything's going well. Those kinds of things. So, and it's all on the City of Calgary website. It's all really, really easily accessible to everybody.
Great, thank you. Ellen, what are the positives or benefits you've seen around addressing the frailty or isolation of seniors in your community?
Well, I have to say we have seen a lot of positives, and I like the fact that we really do provide an inclusive environment, which for us, we really value that, value and support diversity for individuals of all walks of life. And us, similar to Sharon, we have also gone global. During one of our live concerts, we had participants joining us from all over Alberta, the US, the Philippines, and Mexico. And also just this past November, we were approached to host a concert from Sao Paulo, Brazil. So, you know, really, we've had some really wonderful opportunities to experience different cultures and music, which has been great for our participants. We've also really seen a significant rise in attendance from starting in May of 2020 with 203 participants attending, and for about 157 hours to increasing to 2021 with 625 participants attending for over 600 hours. So recently, one of our participants shared one of her experiences with Let's Connect in an article, a newspaper article, and I'm going to share a little bit of that with you because I think it really does show us the impact we're having on that social isolation piece. So this is Linda Darby, lives 25 kilometers outside of Innisfil, and came across Let's Connect in a newspaper ad. She was attracted by the opportunity to learn new skills and to make connections. And her quote is, "I've had lots of positive experiences with the programs, and I've been able to develop good relationships with program instructors," says Darby, who is in her 70s. She's been participating in programs such as Tech Talks, the Healthy Moves, and to keep her creative and to keep her active. She's also been using her newly acquired Tech Talk skills to begin a family history blog, and has already found family members connecting around the globe. A session on talking to loved ones with dementia also proved helpful to Darby when her brother was diagnosed with dementia. Whenever she phones him for a chat, she tries to incorporate everything that she's learned. The most important thing is to let people connect, she says. We need people and we need connections. And the program provides lots of opportunities to make them. So that's one example for us of, you know, that positive impact. You know, within our groups, we started an exercise, or we've had an exercise program running called Movers and Groovers. And it started with 25 people online, and now we're up to 60 participants online 3 times a week. When it was running face-to-face, there were 75 to 80. So, you know, again, just a different population of people being able to stay active and connect with each other. And as a committee for Let's Connect, with the ones that I had mentioned earlier, we're constantly asking our participants and as well as our volunteers what they would like to see with programming, with services, those type of things, even education opportunities. So we really try to go out of our way to keep things fresh and to ask other people what their input with regards to things like that. So, you know, it's good. We will always have those consistent programs, but we also add new ones when we have the opportunity to do that. So we'll continue to add our partners, add to the service, and we're always open to anyone who from anywhere who is wanting to share their time and talents to connect with us with programming ideas or even to host a program. So, you know, if you're interested, just let me know. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks, Ellen. Kathy, so what are the positives or benefits you've seen around addressing the frailty or isolation of seniors in your community?
Well, I think, excuse me, one of the benefits of profiling the Men's Shed is one of our first programs under the umbrella of Age Friendly Cold Lake. Has given us some good recognition within the community. I think it's also afforded us the opportunity to get in front of our council, which was really important. We do have support for the Men's Shed, and that has fostered an awareness of age-friendly Cold Lake. It's also now, because we feel that the Men's Shed, the foundation is built and it's solid, but as I said, we just need some more membership going on. One of the things that they're working on right now is a 3-province conference of how to start a Men's Shed. I think that is also going to increase the awareness significantly. And hopefully that will bring us to the point of more men who are feeling that they are a little bit socially isolated, that they are wanting to come out and check out the sheds. So we're really excited about the opportunities that brings for us.
Great, thank you, Kathy. So, and thanks to the to all the participants in our panel today. Really, and especially to our panel for sharing that important information about why we need to get seniors engaged, and really it's really kind of for me it's really interesting how you all have the same kind of idea. You're spread geographically across the province in varied sized communities, but you all have the same drive to help isolate communities and seniors in the same way. So I'm very impressed with the way that's worked out. So we do have time for some questions. And Carol, do you have a question that was on the chat? Do you want me to I'll just read it then. The question is there a shared definition across the panelists of social participation? So why don't we just start? So let's start with Kathy. Go ahead, Kathy. What's your definition of social participation?
It's getting people involved in many different forums. So it's bringing people together. It's the partnerships. It's working with other community organizations. You know, when I spoke earlier about having the schools come in, having places like the Dove Center come in, getting the senior society. So it's getting multiple organizations involved and supporting those who are socially isolated, because we all, in my field, we all work with them. You know, like I've had 2 referrals this week from home care. So I think that once we start working together, we can identify who can support who in what way. And if it's something that we can't do, then maybe home care can do. If home care can't do it, then maybe we can. So it's just bringing that teamwork perspective to getting people involved in social participation.
Great. Ellen, what's your definition of social participation?
Very similar to Kathy, but again, you know, when you're looking at building those partnerships, we always need to remember as organizations, doesn't matter where we come from, we don't work in silos. And you get such a much better bang for your buck when you can work together. You share resources, you share expertise, you share different perspectives. I come from a healthcare lens, some of my partners do not. And it's really great to be able to build that type of programming for people within the community with such a different lens coming from everybody. And I guess for me as well, it's so important to support people to age in place. And I think, you know, the programming that all of us are currently running we really all look at supporting those individuals to be able to live where they want to be. So I guess, you know, again, like I said, very similar to Kathy, keeping people active and connected, and again, age in place. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Sharon Nixon, what's your definition of social participation?
Very similar. Social participation to me covers a lot of ground. It covers not just seniors being engaged in activities, but lots of intergenerational activities, lots of diverse cultures, also people with mobility issues, any kind of disability. So for me, social participation covers a wide range of activities that can maybe encompass all of those things.
Great, thanks. Sharon Matthewman.
Thanks, Rob. Well, I have to agree with Kathy, Ellen, and Sharon from Calgary. I suppose I just want to add about creating opportunity, presenting opportunity for the community, and ensure that we've got communication right, because, you know, I work in Chestermere area and surrounding areas, and some of these rural communities do not get the information that they're entitled to, and so they're not aware of the opportunities that they've been given to socially participate in activities. So for me, like, the communication piece is very, very important, but creating those opportunities.
Great, thank you. I had another question, and the person's wondering if your programs engage with residents of retirement homes or assisted living facilities. Sharon, you were just talking. Do you want to start this off?
I'm sorry, Rob. Okay, programs engage with residents of retirement home assisted living. Yeah. So we do have an independent living facility here in Chestermere, and I know on a regular basis I have 7 or 8 of those older adults participating in this, plus some of the outlying villages, village networks, and other older adults residencies. It's open to everybody. Nobody is excluded from this.
Great, thank you. Sharon Nixon, do you guys deal with people in residential care?
Well, I can't really speak about Age Friendly Calgary on that matter because I don't really know much, but I do know that for Seniors Week, that the city of Calgary did arrange with the fire department to do drive-bys to quite a few of the seniors residences in Calgary as sort of a morale booster when everybody was locked in through COVID. So I do know that they do some things, but specifics I couldn't speak to.
Okay, great. Ellen?
Yeah, actually, Let's Connect is open to any older adults. So whether they're in supportive living or continuing care or living in their own home or wherever, we're pretty open to having anybody. I guess that's, you know, that's that part of that building that health and social system gap. So, you know, Let's Connect gives us an opportunity to be able to do that. And it doesn't matter where you live or where you're from or who you are.
Great, thank you. Kathy?
Yes, we do involve the lodge, the Cold Lake Lodge here. I actually work there through Age Friendly Cold Lake. I go in and support seniors in the lodge 1 day a week. So I'm always encouraging the men to get involved and come on out and check out the men's shed. We will hopefully have one afternoon a week. We're working towards that, of getting the special transportation bus to pick up members from the lodge and to bring them to the shed and to provide transportation back for them as well.
Great. We just had one more question pop up. And Kathy, you were just speaking. So what are your outreach strategies? Do you have actually outreach strategies?
Well, Well, the strategy that we're really working on is just finding and working with those who are falling through the cracks. So we try to, I shouldn't say we try, we do assist with older folks who need to get to appointments, who need to go to doctors. We do assist with going into the doctor's appointment with them. We take them banking, shopping. If need be, I have one client that we're going through a bankruptcy right now, so we need to protect assets. So I'm a liaison between different lawyers and banking, and so whatever the need of the client may be, we will try to fill that need as much as we can. And again, as I said earlier, if we need to bring in other partners to help with that, then that's something that we do as well.
Okay, great, thank you. And I know, Ellen, you've already talked a bit about what your outreach strategy is, but is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I think so. We definitely look at that engagement collaborative approach. We again build that partnership. We want to still be able to connect with individuals. And yes, you're right. I did talk about our Horizon grant and putting in again those TVs, but we do really try to target individuals who have that potential for social isolation, and whether that's through the Wolf Creek Primary Care Network giving us sort of referrals for helping people get connected. Same thing with Alberta Health Services Home Care or the town. And any of our other partners. So we do really try to support those individuals, whomever they are, and if we can even meet with them one-on-one to guide them through making that transition, we will do that. So yeah, that's, we have, like I say, a memory cafe and some of those other things. So those are kind of some of the strategies that we definitely look at to try and keep people active and promote their well-being.
Great, thank you. Chair Nixon, is there any other outreach strategies you want to touch on that you haven't talked about already?
Well, the city does have their website, and it come up with a lot of engagement activities and things that people can join. They're all for free. They're working with partnerships. They're working with the older adults advisory table that I sit on. They're always bringing ideas to the table and getting feedback. Yeah, they just always working with. They've already started working on Seniors Week for activities and ideas, and so very, very, very proactive when it comes to older adults. It's a very age-friendly city, so all great stuff they do.
Great, thank you. Chair Matthewman, is there any other outreach strategies you want to touch on that you haven't talked about yet?
Well, I'm always out there in the community, and I'm always working with the senior centres, seniors coalition committees, out in Tim Hortons. I'm wherever I can to make sure that I can get those connections with older adults and other organisations. Like I say, it all comes back to communication again, and we do a great job of advertising all the teleconferences. We have the free adverts and the local virtual newspaper, but it's all about, being in the community and making sure that you are engaging with people who need it most. I have to say though, Rob, I think one of the biggest challenges, and it's probably for all of us, is folks who don't have access to the internet, or folks who don't have access to a cell phone, because even in this day of age, we still know people don't have access to a cell phone. And, yes, we offer a free program, but it's how do we ensure that we actually get this program out to the people who need it most. I work closely with our community resources department as well in the city, and we're working on initiatives to try and ensure that we do connect with everybody, so nobody is lonely and facing isolation.
Great, thank you. So again, I just want to thank all of you. So there was one more question, but it's about where can people get more information, and I'm going to touch on this right away. I just want to thank all of the panel again for the great job you did of getting your information across and explaining so clearly what it is that you do in your communities and how you help seniors. So a big round of applause for me for the great job you did today. So thank you very much. There's also in the chat, there's a link for a digital resource on age-friendly programs and initiatives that address and prevent frailty. This resource will also be made available on corealberta.ca. And really, it's a listing and description of resources across the province that deal with frailty and isolation. So certainly we can you can access that. And this whole, if I'm not mistaken, Cindy, this whole recording will be available as well at some point.
Yes, for sure.
All right. So a couple more things. So just want to tell you about, just really quickly about, this is our plug for Core Alberta and our age-friendly groups. So we want to encourage everyone to check out our age-friendly groups on Core Alberta. The Core age-friendly groups share information, resources, and promising practices for creating age-friendly environments and helping communities that are pursuing age-friendliness to connect and support each other. And we've created 2 groups. First one's an open discussion group that's open to anyone interested in the age-friendly concept or its 8 domains. The focus of this group is disseminating information and providing opportunities to ask questions and share information. Members may or may not be involved in an age-friendly initiative. The second group is our actual community of practice. The community of practice is designed to help communities that are considering or in the process of developing an age-friendly plan. Members offer support to communities pursuing age-friendly and a mentoring capacity. The group meets regularly and members commit to actively supporting the community of practice. Interested core members can also request an invitation to join. If you or someone in your community is interested in pursuing age-friendly or would like more information about the community of practice, please visit the core site to request an invitation to join. The other thing is that we're about, age-friendly community practice is about to sponsor a housing series. So you may want to sign up for the core newsletter if you haven't done so, to be sure and receive information on our Alberta Age-Friendly Community of Practice 5-part age-friendly housing series from homelessness to continuing care, starting on February the 23rd. And if there is a link, there's a link right above or on your screen. So if there are no more questions, again, I'd like to thank our panelists. I'd like to thank Cindy and her team at United Way and Healthy Aging Alberta. I'd like to thank Carol Ching from Alberta Seniors in Housing for the great support she's given us. And I want to thank all of our participants today that have logged in from across the province. So thank you very much, everybody, and have a great day.